What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Miguelito To Toe, the show where we talk boxing, and more boxing. I'm your host, Miguel, and today we're breaking down one of the most intriguing fights of the year: Earl the Truth Spence Jr. versus Tim Tszyu. This isn't just another boxing match; it's a crossroads fight. On one side, you have Errol Spence Jr., a former unified welterweight champion looking to prove that he still belongs amongst boxing's elite after a lengthy layoff and the first loss of his career. On the other side, you have Tim Tszyu, a former world champion fighting in front of his hometown crowd, looking to add the biggest name of his career to his resume. The questions are simple. Can Earl Spence turn back the clock? Or will Tim Tszyu prove that boxing has entered a new era? Let's get into it. Errol Spence Jr. For years, Errol Spence Jr. was considered one of the best pound for pound fighters in the sport. He built an incredible resume with victories over Kell Brook, Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, and your Dennis Ugas. His pressure, body punching, and relentless jab made him one of the toughest fighters to beat. Then came Terence Crawford. Crawford delivered a masterclass and handed Spence the first loss of his professional career. Since that night, we've seen a long layoff, questions about injuries, and questions about whether Spence can still perform at the highest level. Now he's moving up to middleweight for another huge challenge. The talent has never been in question. The timing is. Tim Tszyu has experienced both highs and lows over the last couple of years. He's shown toughness, determination, and knockout power, but he's also suffered setbacks that made many fans question where he belongs among boxing's best. Now comes the biggest opportunity of his career, a chance to defeat one of the biggest names in boxing, and he'll have thousands of Australians fans behind him every step of the way. This is the type of fight that can change a career forever. Keys to victory: Earl Spence Jr. Everything starts with the jab. If Spence can establish his jab early, control distance, and attack the body, he'll be able to slow Sitsu's pressure and dictate the pace. He also needs to stay disciplined and avoid getting drawn into unnecessary exchanges. Most importantly, he has to prove that the long layoff hasn't taken away what made him one of boxing's elite fighters. For Tim Tszyu, the game plan should be pressure, attack the body, make Spence work every second of every round. A fighter returning after years away from the ring doesn't want a physically exhausting fight. If Tszyu can push the pace and force Spence into deep waters, those championship rounds could belong to him. The biggest question isn't whether Errol Spence can fight. We already know he can. The question is, can he still be Errol Spence Jr.? Ring rust is real. Age matters. Moving up in weight matters. If Spence looks anything like the fighter who dominated the welterweight division, he also has every chance to win. If he doesn't, Tim Tszyu could fight the signature victory he's been searching for. This is one of the toughest fights to predict because there are so many unknowns. At their absolute best, I lean toward Errol Spence Jr., but boxing isn't fought on paper, it's fought in the ring. With nearly 3 years away from competition, moving up in weight, and facing a younger active fighter in his hometown, I have to lean slightly toward Tim Tszyu. My official prediction is Tim Tszyu by unanimous decision. I think the actively youth, home crowd, and momentum make the difference over 12 rounds. That said, don't be surprised if Errol Spence reminds the boxing world exactly why he was once considered one of the most feared fighters in the sport. This fight has major implications for both men. If Errol Spence wins, he'll immediately put himself back into the championship picture and silence everyone who questioned whether he could return. If Tim Tszyu wins, He'll earn the biggest victory of his career and establish himself as one of boxing's premier names. No matter what happens, this is the definition of a must watch fight. Let me know who you got winning this fight. Is Errol Spence about to make one of the greatest comebacks we've seen in years? Or is Tim Tszyu about to defend his home turf and send another legend into retirement? Drop your predictions in the comments. I want to hear who you're picking and how you think the fight ends. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Miguelito To Toe with every boxing fan you know. And make sure you come back after the fight because I'll be here with a full post-fight analysis. Break down the action round by round, the biggest moments, what each fighter did well and what went wrong, and what's next for the winner and the loser. Until next time, keep your hands up, keep supporting boxing, and I'll catch you after the fight right here on Miguelito To Toe.